Welcome to On the Road with Mibbinbah, a podcast that takes a deep dive into the realms of storytelling, culture, and exploration. Join Jack and Lisa as we engage in thought-provoking chats with a variety of guests, uncovering insights that unite our communities. This series offers an inspiring journey filled with discovery. Let's embark on this adventure together. Good morning and welcome to On the Road with Mibbinbah. This is episode 9 and we've got a really special guest this morning. I'm excited by this. We've got Professor Megan Williams and I'm going to introduce her now and she can tell us a little bit about herself and a little bit of your backstory, Megan. So hello.
Hi.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning.
Yeah, well, Jack, I think it's been almost 20 years since we first met through the Cooperative Research Centre for Aboriginal Health. I'm Wiradjuri and I'm coming to you from the land of the Davey people of the Wiradjuri Nation, and that's northeast. And that EE sound is sort of synonymous with the clan groups around here. And my family, Williams, are from Mudgee, in the back of Mudgee. The Cudgegong is a river, the billa that goes between here and there. And there's some Williams aunties in this town. Yeah, so ancestors, elders of the past, elders of the present, who are from a few mobs, including Davey people and Mudgee. And yeah, so it's been about 20 years. And I was in a new academic role at UQ, University of Queensland. And I was pretty shy. I'd come out of working for about nearly 10 years as a community-based researcher in some health organisations, needle and syringe programs in southeast Queensland, and I'd been able to train in research through working in community groups because I was terrible at the frontline work, and my boss had said, "We've got a surprise for you one day," and I was like, not another nightclub on the list to go to in Surfers Paradise with the 8-foot condom.
Oh.
That was like flaccid and pale, not the condo man that I thought would be part of the job, the big strapping black fella, you know. So I was embarrassed, but I'm shy as well. And he said, "We think you're going to be better at writing and researching programs than being out there doing them." So I got to go to a 3-week intensive with people from all around the South, around the Pacific, to learn community-based research. And I was partway through a bachelor's degree in social science in youth work, and that matched work really well. I got my work and found that boss through my student placement, and he was such a dad to me. Colin, I think of him all the time. He passed away from HIV/AIDS, and we'd nursed his partner. Yeah, so as a young person to be sort of exposed to that at sort of 17, 18 years of age, and but also to be seen and loved for who I really am. That's what I think Colin just looked into me and saw me as a daughter. You know, I think as a gay man and homosexuality was only just legal in Queensland at that time. Yeah, so for him to really love me, it was such a formative experience. So I felt confident enough going into the uni role full time, but I was still pretty shy. My new boss then, Professor Sue Vlack, who's a public health physician, she was a link person to the Cooperative Research Centre for Aboriginal Health. It was a fairly new national organisation. It had strong Aboriginal leadership, but it had a lot of non-Indigenous people in leadership and in the link roles. The link person connected each of the organisations, contributing to the big picture. And Sue said she thought that role would be important for me to take. And I was like, no way. I'm here to do my PhD. I'm going to focus. I'm going to do some stories. I'm going to do deep engagement with some elders I was working with at the time, forming a deaths in custody watch committee in Queensland prisons. And we'd had a death in our family in prison, the cousin who's a little bit older than me. And also through those needle exchanges, I'd supervised a lot of people on community corrections orders, and we'd done health promotion in prisons. And my first childhood memories of being visiting in Long Bay down here. So yes, I was like, I'm not going out socializing and linking with people all around the country. But I got dragged to that Darwin meeting, yeah, where I think Uncle Mick Gooder said, well, you fellas are close by each other in Gold Coast and Brisbane. And because I'd worked on Gold Coast and been from Gold Coast, it was like easy for me to sort of visit. So I remember visiting, going to some of the camps and contributing PowerPoint presentations on empowering evaluation.
I was going to say, I remember that because it was on empowering evaluation, and we've just been talking a lot about that at the moment.
Yeah, still a theme of my work, and I'd love to share on a few of the sort of shenanigans in and games people play in evaluation too today, because as fair warning for mob, I think that would
Yeah,
be something
we'd
to
love to hear that.
But I remember at that camp too, because we'd been not allowed to see our dad, blackfella's side, for quite a while. Our white mum took off with my brother and I and didn't have any respect for our Williams family, even though they had loved her and supported her. In meeting back up with them, they were very hurt by her and didn't understand why she ran off with us and why they understood, relationship with our dad fell apart, but why ditch all the grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins. And so, yeah, being around my brother a lot, that's where I'm going with this. He was my world. He is still my world, my brother. And I loved my dad and my uncles, and I yearned for that. And I think Mibbinbah just made me feel sort of normal again, being around fellas. And because of difficulties with my mum and other white women sometimes too, I have a lot of fear about women and white women. Yeah, so Mibbinbah was a really safe home. And for me, gender, I don't have a strong female gender identity either, partly through my brother being my worldview. So Mibbinbah was really safe for me in that way. And I think the fellas were like, they didn't blink either that I was around. I never experienced anything toward, in that environment except encouragement and humour and love and acceptance and opportunities to better my research practice and my attuning evaluation to the grassroots. So that has stayed with me, those opportunities, to go to those camps and Sizzler for dinner at Mermaid Beach.
Yeah.
And having a steak as big as the next bloke. And one fella said to me, you might be little, but you got big balls to hang out with the likes of us. I suppose that is possibly a bit sexist, but not.
That could have been any one of a few fellas that said that as well. So
Interpreted that well and took it in my stride because I thought
I'm probably thinking it might have been Uncle Teddy Hart.
I wonder, yeah. But I thought, well, that's a way of recognising the courage that I feel that I've got. Yeah.
Can I just jump in there, because you've got a similar story about coming into Mibbinbah and being recognised as a men's organisation. But I do have to say that both of you were two of the first female. Well, you were the two first female facilitators that we had in delivering our programs.
I'm like you too, Meg. I feel very safe around the men. I feel like there's no, oh, you're a woman, you shouldn't be here. There's none of that. It's just, and I say it all the time, that our men they are so loving and kind and they're so open. I just wish that was shared more to the world.
Same. The fellas I know, yeah, they're just so easy to read, less complicated. They tend to own their behaviour.
That's a nice way to say it. I love that.
I've heard and I've read a lot about, feminism and its betrayal of black women. And there's a number of strategies they use, and one of those that I see all the time is not apologising for their own mistakes, not illuminating their own shortcomings in a reflective way to then be better, but to be stoic. And some have developed that because of the patriarchy and sexism. But some of them, it's a defense because they know they haven't brought us along with them within feminism from its early days. So you can sort of leave that behind a bit with Mibbinbah. It's a much more working at connecting the head, the heart and the gut, isn't it? And that's said to be the longest journey, and that's true for me, to get out of my head and into my body.
That's true. That's a nice way to say it, actually, because I call it the Mibbinbah love bubble that we get into once you're in it. And a couple of people have laughed at me and said the Mibbinbah love bubble, and I'm like, you've got to experience it, because you're not in your head, you're not thinking, do I belong here, do I fit? All of that identity of self goes away because you're back into the core centre of who you are, because everyone is one.
Yeah.
Male or female, doesn't matter how black you are, how dark skin or whatever you are, there's none of that. It's all, it's gone. There's love in the space.
Yeah, and then being able to move forward or dream up a better future, because you're not so tangled in being defensive and covering up your holes from the past. Jack can get people talking about the biggest gaping wounds in ourselves, in our identity, in our souls. And that struck a chord with me too, seeing you'd already, Jack, done a couple of videos with fellas along the way, and one openly about very dark moments in his life on camera for everyone to see. And I love that. Like, I wanted to be like that, and I'd been able to be like that a few times. And even as a child, I think because of the grief and loss we experienced, I was always wanting that sort of, I read Louise Hay from the young, and those types, and, angels, and searching for that deeper meaning and connection. I looked into other things, Christianity or briefly, but it didn't offer that. And that's what I probably strive for most with Aboriginal culture now, is to bravely talk about spirituality and what that is, which is connection to self, to family, country, identity, that connection with your head, your heart and your gut, and to fight for that. Yeah.
We often get asked about what is our Mibbinbah spiritual healing, and it's everything that you just said. And it's, it's that big thing about connection back to self and country and community, if you like. And I think that's where our healing starts. And I guess for us, yes, we were looked at and we started off as a men's organisation, a men's research program, to be honest with, and then got turned into the charity as we stand today. But for me, it was much more than that, because it was about being able to bring our fellas and our women together to be able to work for the future generations, if you like. So, and I know people probably heard this story over and over again, but whenever we went into our communities, our male elders would say to us, "What about the women?
Yeah.
When are you going to work with them?" And we got a lot of stories, haven't we?
I've witnessed that and heard those words, and the feeling of that, to be in that space when you hear an uncle say, "But what about our women? Why can't we do this together? Why are we separating all the time?"
Yeah.
Coming back together, and I hear that more than women saying, "Oh, why aren't the men involved?" It's like that. You don't really hear that, but the men are so wanting to create that change, wanting to build that connection, that community again.
Yeah,
that's nice to witness, and that, I think that helps you, boost our spirit. That's for sure, to keep moving with where we're going and what we're doing.
Yeah, I definitely have heard that as well, and felt like I just belonged within settings where and even having the opportunity to critique what gendered business is in Aboriginal culture these days too, and not just keeping the old ways.
Do you think that, there's no one that respects men's and women's business more than the three of us? No doubt about that, but do you think sometimes we hide behind that men's and women's business, or maybe not hide behind it, but we use it as an excuse to not move forward as we should be, to protect our future generations, if you like?
Yeah, there's probably some of that, but what I've seen is non-Indigenous people create program specifications and funding requirements that defines there's men's and women's business and things must be done in particular ways. And that controls what you do, how you define your programs.
Yeah.
But it also controls the narrative about what gendered business is. It doesn't allow for fluidity or exploration of gendered business. And also it creates fear in us, that especially those of us who haven't grown up with a real strong uninterrupted culture and been initiated and understand what true gendered business is. So then we've got to be a bit like, oh, we better just sort of toe the line here, keep a bit minimum in case our own defects are shown up. Yeah. And then the other thing is there's not enough time within a program that's funded to think through all of these things. You have to just get on with delivering things that you're contracted for. So that's another thing Mibbinbah has done, is worked outside of that operational funded realm, kind of smells of oily rags and things, but also more creatively, because it's more national, or I'm not going to say homeless organisation, but
pretty close.
Yeah, you're not tied to
We'll run with that.
community.
I like that.
I get the place-based community and the ties to country, but I also know what about lifting up to our population level, like of fellas around, or families, and working at family level, not only at local Davey country level. It's good when they align. And I was going to say, Jack, you would have seen me grow and change over the last 20 years.
Oh,
well.
definitely.
But still myself as well, too.
100%. And like, it's been such a pleasure to see all the different changes. And now, we're going to have a little talk about this a little bit later, but even what you've done recently, it's just like we talk about it a lot, don't we? It's just an amazing thing that you've been able to do. So,
it's so brave.
Yeah, look, it seriously is. It seriously is, though, and people won't get that until they hear your.
You'll have to share it now.
Your full story. So tell us about, like, because you've gone from a professor in a university setting. Yeah. Tell us what you've gone and done now.
Yes, I got the news this week. 100% complete on my Aboriginal health practitioner training.
Congratulations.
So haven't registered yet, but that's another process. But yeah, Cert 4 through Dubbo TAFE. I think about 12 of us went through in that group, and most from central west New South Wales too, which was really great. Very sort of homely feel. And the reason for doing that was the higher level I got, the more need I felt to be connected at the ground level. And I couldn't operate at the leadership level without a role, not just ties at the ground level, but a role at the ground level, so-called ground level. They're funny distinctions, but yeah, like in clinical work. Yeah, the pay disparity is weird because, I think the professor you could earn around the country, people earn over 200 grand full time. Aboriginal, and that's leadership, it's important. My experience of that was a lot of strategic planning, Excel spreadsheets, being in meetings and pushing back, saying yes or no, being really brief about everything. Hardly any opportunity to gauge from Aboriginal staff what they wanted before being put forward. A lot of having to turn things around in quick ways by the executives. And this happens in government, not only universities. The executive need things in short time frames. I'd make the best response I could and then go back to mob saying, I've done this, I hope it's okay. And living with that fear all the time is the wrong direction. I loved uni work because of how creative we could be in teaching and coursework. And it's such a voice. I really miss that. Every day I had a voice to guide other people, non-Indigenous young people, forward about how to be the best they can be, but also working with communities, working collaboratively. I really miss that outlet, actually. And then the research, and that was mainly on prison health issues. So yeah, can be very disconnected. We're supposed to do collaborative partnered research, and that's how I was trained within a community organisation as a researcher. It can be storytelling, it can be continuous quality improvement, but academic research was not structured in a way that you could do that effectively. So then, yeah, wanting to really have that role within the community, and also seeing the gap here, because I've moved from the city to country town, and there isn't Aboriginal health practitioner by government or community that comes here. And then the other part of the story is being able to be involved in things like rock art preservation camps deep in a national park, and sometimes for 3 nights. No water, electricity or phone. And a couple of times there's been some wound issues, and there's been headaches and illness. And, you know, I'm a mum, my kids have survived an upbringing with me in a healthcare sense. And I can't use a chainsaw. I'm shit scared of four-wheel drive. And
Me too.
you
I
know,
like a chainsaw though.
I couldn't even.
Jack won't give me the chainsaw though.
Yeah, I can't chop a piece of wood. Pretty terrible at, you know. But I thought I could have a role as bush nurse here. I could boss people around about nutrition.
Love that.
I could do nutrition
Yep.
planning. I happily attend to wounds, prevent them getting worse. Yeah, and all that old health promotion work that I used to do. But then I realised that my first aid certificate was from 1986. So I figured I better update that if I'm going to offer myself to bush nurse.
I love
I must
that
say,
bush
mine's
nurse.
probably the same. I reckon.
Yeah. And so then I thought, what the hell, you know, all in, enroll in the cert for it. It was there, it timed well, it was block mode. I could drop part-time with my other job and manage it, and I love driving west, the Golden Highway to Dubbo. Yeah, and it's gone pretty quick. And we had to do 500 hours of clinical placement.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was part-time for me, 2 days a week for about 7 months. I did that across. So that's a lot of driving from here. About half of that was to Lithgow Jail, which is a full hour and back of gnarly driving, and a gnarly place as well. But I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to go there and do that. And I learned from really bad things there. So I then flipped to Tharawal Aboriginal Medical Service in Campbelltown. Really grateful they opened their door for me to come. And yeah, so learned, so much clinical work, but also, just keep connected.
So plans now? When are you coming back to work for Mibbinbah?
Yeah, definitely more available now. Just recovering from so much driving and sitting. And as part of that, my brother and I have been doing online yoga every day. We've done 24 days in a row.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Mark, if you're listening, namaste.
I think Jack's been trying to get Mark on JB&C.
Oh, we got him on.
Oh, we did get
get
him
him
on.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, we got
Okay.
him on. So he come on. He was. The camera was all like, so he was sitting in the background there. So
Oh, okay.
Wow.
yeah, no, we got him on.
We've had no shame in having our phones right there during yoga with the class on YouTube, and then our phones right there for accountability. And
Yeah, okay.
laughing as well. All the funny angles that was and the cat, his cat or my dog right there on the
Just went
mat.
through.
Yeah.
Belvedere does not like yoga whatsoever.
No.
So
Yeah.
it's been like one of the best things in life, both having that relationship with my brother, and in the context of what our parents are both going through in their early 70s and not well, and a lot of difficulties. That the reason we started doing it was we were like, we've got to find other better things to talk about with each other than only that. And then because I'm his little sister, I begged him, can you play with me? Can you do And he was like, all right then. And we just put the first class on, and the one that we clicked on happened to be a 30-day, like day one of a 30-day challenge. And then we
So
were
you've
like,
got
oh,
to commit to it. I
you
love
want to
that.
come
What
back
is it?
tomorrow?
I think
Oh,
you better,
okay.
better send that through to us so we can.
Yeah, we'll have to find that one.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a couple of questions for you. How's the roller skating going?
Oh, good. Yeah, I roller skated, I think, 60 days in a row.
Oh, wow.
And then picked up the yoga class. Yeah, so I had a week crossover, and then I was like, I could probably focus on. I actually did. My brother doesn't know this, but because I was doing a daily roller skate challenge, I did one class with my roller skates on.
Did you? Did you record that one?
Because it was like getting late in the day, and I thought I can't do yoga and then the roller skating. Maybe I'll
They're
just.
going together.
But that's the Meg bastard. Such a dickhead at times. Hey. Yeah.
Sorry, I have got a serious question after this one. Look, this is very serious as well, but will you come on and be our move for Mibbinbah, what are we up to, April champion?
Oh, maybe. I wonder in
Just a short video, of what you're going to
challenger
do.
movement, yeah.
A challenge, or movement, yeah.
All right, let's talk. Yeah, because it is, I got to keep moving. I do have a lot to say about menopause, but we could keep that for another discussion on menopause.
I've found it so interesting. Like, we've had a few people come on and talk about menopause and the effects and that. But it's good for us fellas to know about it as well. So we'd love to talk about that. But I have, maybe that's the next session. Now, the other question I want to ask you about is the amazing work that you do in the justice system, and some of the things that you have done in that. Just tell it for people that don't know. Tell us a little bit about that, because we have done some work with you as well around that space. And for me, some of it was like we've worked in a lot of jails across the country, but to do the work that we did with you guys in Melbourne was just really eye-opening for me, and probably left me a little shell-shocked at the time. So.
Yeah, I remember seeing you after one of the sessions, and so sort of like I mentioned before, doing that work in my earlier work life and being around prisons and the Deaths in Custody Watch Committee. And then a group of us, that transformed into Project 10, which was a Aboriginal Community Corporation. And that was to campaign for a new justice agreement when the old one ran out in Queensland. And the government didn't create that, but they made a strategy, and the pillars of our work, which were really grounded in community engagement, were in that document. That was really encouraging. I was doing my PhD at the time, and I did 3 rounds of data collection, and each round was turned into something. Like, one round is stories of people who'd gotten out and stayed out of prison for more than 2 years, and we wrote up their stories with them, and they were published in a booklet that went to all the jails. And then the next one was a round of stories about all the services and programs that are in community. And that went to all the parliamentarians in Queensland at the time. And then we made a whole series of fact sheets for Project 10%. So that's a good, solid body of work. And must have been 10 years later, that led to my involvement with Croaky Health Media and the Just Justice series of 90 articles from 70 authors about their work promoting health of people in prison, supporting people post-release, or to prevent incarceration system reform. About half the authors, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. So I wrote maybe 6 or 10, and I've contributed since. It's 10 years now since Just Justice. And we are hoping to do another round of articles and definitely contribute that. And other things include coronial investigations. And I've done 3 major ones, and they meant reviewing over 1,000 pages of case files and answering questions and being on the stand in the coroner's court One of those, the coroner appended my expert review to her findings,
Yeah, well,
actually.
yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that another project's about palliative care in prison, which you've been involved in, and creating a national framework. And that's probably got another 6 months before that is released. And that's pretty significant. It's one of the first pieces of work that's been national about prisons. Everything else is state-based and piecemeal.
Yeah.
And that's obviously a really traumatic, terrible topic. But it came not long after we worked for the Victorian Ombudsman reviewing healthcare in prisons down there. And that came off the back of doing a cultural review of Victorian prisons as well as visiting. Even in COVID, a group of us had online meetings where we just opened up to one of the women's prisons. A group of us every week dialed in to provide like peer support, Aboriginal women's peer support.
Yeah, wow.
And yeah, probably a few other things, but the national data collection about health of people in prisons,
Yep.
I pushed to call it the unhealth of people in prisons, or white people's view of Aboriginal people's health in prisons, because nothing about, that holistic definition of Aboriginal health was asked. And that point got taken, but obviously nothing done with that. But I put about 5 years into that committee and that annual reports. And a review of New South Wales government's progress toward implementing the Royal Commission recommendations was part of a committee for that, and that report's online too. That took a long time and a lot of meetings. And then we designed, this is great, a customer experience survey of people in prisons. Isn't that horrendous? Because all government agencies have to do customer experience surveys, and someone realised that, well, prisons are government-funded services. Yeah, so we wrangled that to be just called an prison experience survey, and our proposal was very strong about being human rights informed and prison rights. Yeah, so I don't think it's not in use, but it was a staunch piece of work that was great to do. Evaluation of a couple of prison programs, for my own little, because I run my own little company, Ulang, which means ripples in Wiradjuri, and sort of signifies we work at individual, family, community, service and sector and system levels. And just working at the moment on an evaluation of New South Wales Government's Aboriginal Justice Partnership, that it's supposed to be between government and Aboriginal community, and it's operationalised by a government department and an Aboriginal organisation. And yeah, we'll see. We submitted the report recently, and yeah, not sure. People don't tend to like evaluation very much.
We always talk about Meg as being our evaluation guru, don't we?
Always. Lots of people know the guru.
If someone's got a question, I'll go, I'll have to run that past Meg because she'll know the answer.
Yeah. Look, I think my key question is what's the purpose of the evaluation? Why do you want evaluation done? Because it means something really different to how it's done and how your time's spent and then how it's used. So you can't do evaluation because you want to prove that you've done a great job and then want to use it for system reform, because it's not asking the right questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you want to show you've done a great job, like why? And encouraging people to take that next, play the tape forward, I always say. You've got to play the tape forward, and then so what? So what if you show that? What? Because you've got to work out really who's the audience to influence by the work, and it shapes the work that you do. And so just holding that space for people to have those conversations. I do a bit of that mentoring, and done mentoring on like people using me or my services to get some cultural perspectives in evaluation that's been designed by a non-Indigenous evaluator. So that's great advocacy work to do. And then there's a bit of fashion in hiring Aboriginal people to develop evaluation frameworks and do the planning, but not do the work. Yeah, so I'm thinking that through at the moment. What's what's that about? Yeah, it sounds right. Aboriginal people leading the design of evaluation, but what about its actual doing and then the interpretation of the data and then the reporting of it and then the use of it in communications and briefs? They're all, you've got to fund, like, cost all of that into your evaluation process, not just data collection. That's just a small part of the process.
Yeah, definitely.
They're really
definitely.
scared of being evaluated as well, so you've got to either involve them or design together, or you got to take the power out of it somehow. Yeah, really, really complicated. So hence also wanting to do the clinical. I love, especially all the car talk. And one great
Yeah,
experience was a young fella who has grown up without a mum, and he was 15, and he wanted to get an annual health check done, and he went to the clinic on his own. His dad was on the mobile, so I just got allocated at the clinic that day, and
So you're talking about a 715 here?
yeah, the 715 annual health check. And so met him. I talked to Dad a bit on the mobile. Yep, that's all good. Consent, safe, space, time, overview. And, we're supposed to ask a bit about people. And I always ask, like, what just sets you on fire? What do you love? What they did was phenomenal because I'm such bogan. I love my cars too. And he couldn't believe someone, sort of fairly invisible, dagging middle-aged woman knew stuff about cars. Yeah. And I think it was such a great experience for him. He just, sort of, I
Yeah,
thought,
that's beautiful.
to be able to provide that. I think it took my maturity and this age and all my experience and create that safe space. And I'm sort of proud of that. And then also another bit of feedback I got during training, because I thought I pretty much knew who these people were, but you don't say anything confidentiality wise. But later I got feedback from their other family. Yeah, she was great. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
meant a
beautiful.
lot.
And that is a real important part of that work that we do as Aboriginal health workers or practitioners or those sort of thing. It's about people being able to give a little bit of their story and it actually being heard. And a lot of times people are rushed through and they're not given the time to be able to have those yarns, and it's a really important process, isn't it?
Yeah, and problem focus too, and trying to break that. You don't only go to the doctor because you got a problem, but you go there because you can keep up ahead, and encouraging someone at 15 that you
Amazing.
lay
Amazing.
in your own body, and
Yeah.
you're the best one to tell when something's not right, and you know what it's like to come here, and you can come here pretty quick and you don't have to wait till it's bad, and that's that empowerment of self-knowledge, self-determining.
It's a bit like you spoke about before about the spirit of, healing and talking about spirituality and that connection to self, and, you could have a message from a bird or something show up for you to go, oh, I think I need to go to the doctor. I need to just have a checkup. Not that there's anything wrong, but just giving yourself that permission to look after yourself.
Yeah.
And he's doing that at 15. I mean, no one's thinking about it at 30, 40 or 50, let alone 15 that we want to go to the doctor to have a checkup.
Yeah, that's right.
It's special.
Yeah.
And that's that prevention that we talk about, yeah?
Yeah.
And not everyone gets that. So, like some people like to have the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. Whereas what you're doing in this role now is about having that ambulance at the top of the cliff, if you like, before, people are going over the cliff, or, so it's about prevention.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of fear too, isn't there, around going to a medical centre or to the doctors or the hospital, because, you don't always get the best, there's not always good stories, like you've got a 15-year-old going on, should just go and have a checkup.
Yeah.
Most time someone's going because they're unwell.
Yeah, and how to read your own body. It's not bad to come to a place like this.
No.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Now we've got a couple more questions, haven't we?
I bet you have.
I just want to know your thoughts. I mean, we're doing a bit of work with the Healing Foundation at the moment around stolen gent. I'd just like to, we heard a little bit about your story before,
Yeah.
with your mum separating and those sort of things.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your thoughts on stolen gent and your understanding, if you like.
Yeah, I've made the decision a few months ago to make what Stolen Generations say where I start with everything, actually. And it used to be the way that we were, especially when I worked in that Murray Indigenous health team at UNSW, because one of our team members was part of the National Sorry Day Committee. And so there was that influence there, but I think I just came to have a deep respect for that's the way colonisation and colonialism has played out and influences our own sort of individual behaviours. So on an everyday level, the stolen generations and their descendants, there's four or five generations of descendants, the difficulties they've incurred through colonisation and colonialism are what to listen to in what we need to do. And they can be so clear. One of our projects back then was developing an evaluation kit. Such a nerd.
Yeah. Have you still got that? Have you still got that kit going? We could use that.
I use it, or I have used it a couple of times this week. Yeah. And because it was a collective healing resource, evaluation for collective
We
healing.
might have to get hold of that.
That's where and working with them, they were absolute outstanding thought leaders. And like stolen elders, they just have incurred so much. Their bodies, they're often really unwell, profoundly traumatized or triggered, but their thought leadership on evaluation, like, they flipped the whole damn program logic. They could map where to go for 4 generations, and were theoretically the tree that they developed. That's what I still use and show people, because we're often tied to developing a program logic and funded to do that. And I'm like, well, we can put it in a table form, or there's this that we prepared earlier, and everyone just goes,
and this works.
Well, you'll be proud to know that we still use the wellbeing wheel as well as part of what we do. So yeah, we do appreciate that.
I'm getting braver at, sort of not selling it, but, selling it, or, pushing that a bit further as well. Yeah, we're working with one whole group of different youth services, and they would like to use it as well, and in their data collection with young people. So that's sort of wound into some operational data collection now. Yeah, so that collective healing, and then, the wellbeing web, which just asks us to reflect on all the different parts of the Aboriginal definition of health. It's funny it hasn't really been done before. It's very simple, isn't it? We're told this is what Aboriginal health is. Well, let's just ask ourselves a few questions about each of those and just start with ourselves. Like, how am I going with my mental, physical? Yeah.
We actually seen, before we started using it, we presented it to a couple of cousins, didn't we?
And they thought they were very connected and very good and like in a really good space, mind, body and spirit, didn't they?
And then what happened after we sat down and they did it, we come back and we go, wow, this, here's a couple of people that think that they're absolutely connected and in the right frame and culturally strong and all that sort of stuff. And they weren't.
No.
Come back that they were really mixed up and didn't know where they belonged. So
yeah, it just holds the mirror up, doesn't it? It's all it's sort of all we're here to do as humans, I think. Just like, I'm still breathing, so I'm chosen to be here. I better run, right? To not be, toxic to other people, because I'm really good. I could be really good at that. I could be really good at dysfunction, blame, shame. You know, I was trained hard, well in that in childhood. But holding that little mirror up and how am I? And then seeing the result of it in the web and thinking if I'm 3 or under, I've got work to do in that area. And then I'm like, who? First of all, connection. Who to connect with? Don't go it alone. You know? And that Meg will, that name, I use that as a sign. Meg's willful. And that gets me in trouble. And that Mad Bastards work we do and getting that, you know, nickname Meg Bastard, it was fun, but it was also true as well. And I just don't want to wreck the relationships I've got in my life with my kids. My kids give me, like, they say really nice things about me and
that's beautiful.
how I've mothered them, and I'm like, really? No. Like, you know, and then I try to not be a burden on them because I don't believe it. That's my poor self-esteem. But I tell them, you know, thanks, I'm going to go and let it seep in. I don't go, oh, yeah, of course. You know.
No, because it's especially when it's not. I mean, you know it, but when the kids are, like, we were only talking about this the other day too. You know, because it's just us at home now. And Bella, the youngest, and it's been nearly 3 years since she hasn't been at home. I've probably got to the point now where I really enjoy that she's not, and I love all the kids, but I love that. I love our time, but I also love the kindness that they give back, the phone calls, they want to share. Like, they're not ringing for a problem. There's no problems. They just want to talk. They're asking how we are, what are you doing, where are you now, things like that. But just that makes you feel really good on the inside.
It really does. That's so great to hear. Yeah, when they ask us, son, he'll just, text, how are you?
Yeah.
And
That's nice.
yeah, and to feel proud of them as well. I was always pretty scared of anything to do with, still haven't sort of worked out all that through, but to feel.
Plenty of time for that.
Oh my God.
All right, now I've got
They're
one more.
listening, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I've got one more question for you. What sets you on fire?
Roller skating.
I love that.
Because it's a perioperceptive sport, meaning like you feel it through your feet, and there's some sort of vibrational thing, to feel that connection, and that just reminds me of keeping my muscles strong and aligned, and lifting the tension so that I can be more free and available to like do my job effectively, not be a shit at work.
The last time we spoke, you told me you were going to get into running.
Yeah, that's right. That's part of doing the roller skating, picking that up to build up the quads, because I'd had that some knee problems.
Ah,
Yeah.
your sister here.
So that helped you with the roller skating? It helped your knee?
Yeah, because it relies on quads and glutes, which takes
Yeah.
pressure off the knees. Yeah.
I used to roller skate as a kid, and I thought I was just the coolest.
Yeah,
Kid
that's
ever.
what sets me
Yeah.
by that sort of vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, how cool.
Yeah, and we speak about, like, every time we see roller skates or someone roller
There goes
skating,
Meg.
there goes Meg. And I said to Jack, I used to love roller skating. I thought I was the coolest kid ever.
Yeah, that's
I
the
was
vibe
just-
to
yeah.
keep now in adulthood, that same thing alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a lot of childhood memories have come back as well. So that's really allowed me to heal through it and let go. And I get a bit of that seasonal affective disorder where the winds of the past sort of echo in my solar plexus in a haunting kind of way. And now I'm brave enough to listen to them and go, oh no, we can work that out. And roller skating's done that too. Yeah.
Well, they're little visitors, is what we say. Those memories are little visitors. They show up, and then we ask, okay, so what's your purpose? Why have you showed up? Do we need to do anything? And most of the time it's a no. It's about letting it go. But we've been so good at pushing things down and avoiding how we feel. But emotions aren't bad, or the story. It's just how we let it go, like you said.
It's also about trusting yourself as well.
Yeah,
So,
being okay to let it
Yeah.
go. Because what
Yeah.
happens when you let go of the story?
yeah.
You let go of the pain.
You let go of the drama.
And
don't you?
who am I going to be then? I'm going to be
Yes.
empty, and I'm scared of being empty and alone.
Exactly.
And that's one of the biggest things that we see, and it doesn't matter where we go, is that whole sense of belonging. And, you know, who am I? What is my identity? And, you know, you get so many people are really struggling with it. So it's something that's really important to actually do that work on yourself, to be able to reconnect with yourself, to then go, well, here I am. This is where I belong. And once you get that, you sort of understand about, you know, where you can go with it.
Yeah. I think the thought came to me because now I'm even doing a bit of yoga willingly in the mornings, not only on YouTube with my brother. And this morning, that overwhelming thought of like, I belong here in my body.
Yep.
I belong to me, and I don't
Yep.
need to belong anywhere else. But if I'm
That's
intact
powerful.
in me,
To get to that
I can-
point is strong.
And I think when you get to that sort of stage, you then go, well, it doesn't matter what other people think of me. That's their business. I can only do what I can do. I can only control what I can control.
Yeah.
And that is that I'm starting to love myself.
yeah, my long-term sort of mentor, and he said, but that's like yogurt, that sort of, your well-being's like yogurt. It's alive for a few days, and if you don't tend to it and feed it, it goes off. Oh yeah. So the humility of, yeah, that's a fleeting, it's okay if it's fleeting. I know I can access that, and I think, yeah, it helps me to not act out. I might want to, you know, be negative or run other people down or complain about things. Work's really hard. The concepts in work can be really hard, and I can probably be quite hard for my close workmate, Dr. Mark Ragg, you know. He knows we have to talk a lot. He knows a lot about my thinking and negativity. But if I know that I can care for myself, I can quickly see how I'm starting to act out and like curb it back and not
Yeah.
affect him so much. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Thanks for sharing that too.
Yeah.
All right, so
Thank
I
you.
think we've got another episode that we need to talk to you
Yeah.
about. We've got a few. I mean, we could talk to you all day.
All day.
Yeah, look, we're going to have to end this one, but we'd love to have you back to talk about something else as well. And one of those things might be menopause. If you'd like to come back and have a
Yeah. Be great to have a group discussion.
Yeah, yeah.
I think so.
I'm lucky enough to have friends going through the change of life at the same time, and gee, we've had some good laughs. So
Yeah.
and claiming the power of the change too.
I love that because
Lisa talks a lot about that. So.
I say it's quite powerful when it's happening, but I think because there's so much fear and the story of what menopause, like a fear of it, like it's you're old and you're out and it's, you know, that kind of talk. But I
Grumpy
think,
old women, that's what the
yeah.
gynecologist started
Yes.
calling the clinic recently, and I was like, nah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
We definitely have to have a chat about this.
Can I just say too, though, it's really important for us fellas to be able to have a little bit of knowledge, have a listen to, you know, what's going on, so that we can understand as well.
Yeah, there's some awesome things. You'll be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Wow.
We'd love to. So
All right.
thank you for joining us.
Good day, everyone.
Yeah, you too. We'll leave the last word for you, Meg.
Mandang. Thanks. Guyu. Bye.
Beautiful. No worries. Okay. Thanks.
See you.
Have a good weekend. Bye for now.